Waterville, Maine continues to be a city that is on the map, both as a destination city here in central Maine, as well as a place where new families are moving to and we have a growing population. That said, over the last couple of years, we've seen, like everywhere else, all kinds of inflation, a crazy housing market, and increase in electricity and gasoline costs. So what has that done to the cost of living in Waterville? Stick around, today we're going to bring you those numbers. Hello Central Maine, it is your realtor Nick Isgro with eXp Realty, and today we are going to do a little bit of an update of a video that we did a couple of years ago, but a lot has changed since then, and that is what is the average cost of living here in the city of Waterville. So keep in mind as we go through this video, these are all really average costs, and I can't break it down for every single individual, but considering a lot of the people moving to Waterville are buying homes, and it is a hot housing market, not much is really lasting here. We know that families are moving here and growing, so that will be a little bit more of the focus, but we're going to try to cover all of our bases. Now, before I get into that, I do want to welcome you here to the channel. If you've never been here before, we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, but particularly right here in the central Maine market. If that's something that is of interest to you or adds value to your process in the buying and selling of homes, or maybe you just like real estate, do me a favor, go ahead and like this video, hit the subscribe button, knock that little alarm bell. You'll be notified every time I put out new content. Now, I want to kick this off by jumping right into housing. I know that is probably the biggest expense that most people are going to have, especially here in the state of Maine. What we've seen over the last couple of years is as the pricing of homes in southern Maine, particularly in the Portland area, continues to skyrocket and people are moving farther and farther out, and with the idea that people are working from home more and more, we've seen a lot more people moving up north into places like the city of Waterville. So just taking a look at the average houses. So the average sale point last month here in the city of Waterville was about $280,000 on the houses. Now, I say that's the average because what I want to stress here is there haven't been a lot of sales in general because the market has been a little bit squeezed. So trying to determine what that sale price actually is can be a little tough. However, what I've seen over the steadiness of the last few months is that is somewhere around the average, that mid to upper 200,000s, which is also, by the way, indicative of the average pricing in sales here in Kennebec County, kind of the upper 200,000s, lower 300,000s. I think what makes Waterville unique as a city is that there's actually something for everybody here. We have places that are under $100,000 all the way up to the million mark, as we've seen over the last 6 to 9 months. There's really something for everybody here, and there's such a wide variety of neighborhoods and housing. It's really the kind of place that's going to offer the diversity of housing where if you want to live in Waterville, whether you're getting that first starter home or whether you're upsizing your family into the larger family home, there's going to be a place for you. Obviously, with limited inventory, it might take a little bit more time than it might in other markets to find the place that is right for you, but it is a place where homes continue to come on the market on a regular basis and they continue to sell. Now I'm going to jump over into the rental scene, and this is where we're going to get into some of these price changes. We've seen the increase of housing, but what's happened to the rental market over the last couple of years? When I made this video a couple of years ago, the average rents were somewhere between about $900, $1,200. Right now, if you're looking to rent anywhere, a 2 to 3 bedroom in the city of Waterville, your average rent is going to be somewhere between $1,100 and $1,800, depending on the number of bedrooms. If you're looking for a 3-bedroom in Waterville, count on paying $1,700, $1,800 a month for that rental. If you're looking for even a 1-bedroom, it could be as much as $1,100. And there's really not a ton of availability right now. Not saying that there aren't rentals you could get for less, but I'm saying if you're looking for, high quality housing and you're looking for that 2 to 3 bedroom range, count on that being, not a surprise if you're going to be paying over the $1,000 mark now on average for rent here in the city. All right, now let's talk about electricity costs. This is another area, especially if you already live in the state of Maine, if you are a customer, a consumer of Central Maine Power. They're delivering the power. They're not always the originator of the supply that's coming to your home. However, we do know that prices have really skyrocketed. In fact, the Maine Public Utilities Commission just recently approved a 49% price increase on the electricity charge. So this is one where it's going to be a little different. Last time, a couple of years ago, the average power bill, I was saying about $150 to $200 a month. I'd count on north of 200 now. $200, $250 a month would not be out of the ordinary for a family that's living in a house. Obviously, if you're a single person, you're keeping all the lights off, maybe you don't have a lot of utilities and things like that, it could be less. I'm not saying that it won't. But what I'm telling you is on average, I would count on that being a little bit higher than it was before, probably about 200 bucks a month for the power bill. That's based off my own family supply. I think we have all LED lights. We try to be fairly energy efficient, although, we do like to have a little glow in the house at night. My son's got a fish tank, we have a dishwasher, things like that. But I think this is stuff that's not really out of the ordinary for the average family. So count on a little bit of an elevated cost in the power bill from a couple years ago, coming in $200 to $250, obviously more or less on either side. Next up is water and sewer. Most people in the city of Waterville are going to be on public water or public sewer, the Kennebec Water District, the Waterville Sewer District. Now these are quarterly bills that come out every 3 months based off your usage. As always, just want to preface that it's based off your usage, but you might count on the following bills. If you are a family, let's say maybe a family of 4 living in, a 1,500 to 2,000 square foot house, let's put it that way. Your quarterly bill for water is probably going to be about $100 to $130 on a quarterly basis for the water usage, depending on what you're using. That's, your dishes, your dishwasher, your washer machine, obviously your showers, brushing your teeth, anything you're using water for, that meter's going about $100, $130 a quarter. Sewer, on average, tends to be a little bit less. You might count on that being somewhere between $70 and $100 a quarter, always based off your usage. High-speed internet here in the city, here's some actually good news. It hasn't really moved much. A few years ago it was like $75, $78. We're about $81 a month if you're looking for that basic Spectrum high-speed internet package, about $81 a month. So not too bad, 80 bucks gets you some pretty high-speed internet, especially if you're not using cable. I don't actually have cable at my house. I don't know a lot of people who even continue to use cable, because you can really stream everything, especially if you have a good internet connection. So we're coming in on the high-speed internet, which is available, by the way, throughout the city of Waterville through Spectrum, 80 bucks a month. City, it is kind of a small city. It actually still has that small town feel. Unfortunately, if you are looking for public transportation, that does mean that we don't have a lot of the big city features like public transportation. We do have KV Cap, the Kennebec Explorer, does provide some type of public service that you can pay for, but by and large, there's no like public bus station, there's no public rail that goes around town. It's a small city. Most of the time, if you're not walking or riding a bike, you're in your car, and that's how most people are getting around town. The price of gasoline today here in the city, right by the highway, $3.47 a gallon for regular unleaded gasoline. So not the highest we've seen, not the lowest we've seen in the last few years, but coming in somewhere in that middle price range. $3.47, obviously we'd all like to see it cheaper. And if you are just driving around town, you're probably not going to use a ton of gas. A lot of people do live and work in and around the city. But it is Maine. A lot of people are hopping on the highway as well and driving, 30 to 40 minutes to get where they're going. So something to keep in mind. All right, here's going to be maybe a sore spot for a lot of people, and that is the price of groceries. No matter where you are in the country, not just Maine, the price of food in this country has skyrocketed, as we've seen this kind of insane inflation in the current economy. And a couple of years ago, I brought you a video that said whether you're a single person going up to a full family, you could count on an average grocery bill per month of probably about $500 to $1,500. Now, at the time, I will tell you, I have a family of 7. I have 5 children. At the time, I was spending about $350 to $400 a week on groceries for my size family. Now I'm spending, like $500 or $600 a week, depending on what we're doing. Sometimes I can get away in the 4s, but on average, this is one that's gone up. And I would say whether you're a single person moving up to a family, wouldn't be surprised from that single range if you're spending somewhere around $750 a month up to, a couple of $1,000 a month on groceries, depending on what your tastes are. Obviously, a lot of people, can cut corners in this area. We can all pick and choose what we eat. This is actually a fairly easy area to move around with your budget, depending on, the recipes you're using and what you're cooking. This is one of those things, by the way, it's not just for Waterville. This is a price that's going for all of the people in the surrounding area, because we have the grocery stores here and they're all coming to Waterville to do their grocery shopping. So count on that being, you know, $750 a month to a couple of $1,000 a month, depending on how many people you have in your household and what it is exactly that you're buying and eating. Now, of course, local residents would hold me to task if I didn't bring up the idea of property taxes. You know, Waterville being a city, we are a service center and we do have some public services. We have a fire department that's probably going to get to your house before it burns to the ground. We have a police department that is likely to get to you and serve you when you need them. We have miles and miles of road that are getting plowed in the winter, patched in the summertime, repaved as needed, which was actually great. We've seen a lot more repaving in the last few years, but all of these things do come at a cost for living here in the city. The mill rate, if you're living in the city of Waterville, is 25.83. So what does that mean? It means for every $1,000 of value that the city is valuing your house at, you're gonna pay $25.83. So just as an example to give you guys, if you are living in a home that the city assesses at $200,000, you're gonna take that $200,000 and multiply it by 0.02586. That's gonna get you a tax bill of $5,166. So certainly more than the surrounding towns, but it does come also with its benefits that we do have a lot of services that those surrounding towns just don't have. That's why they're all coming to Waterville. You know, we got to keep the streets clean for them too, so they can come here and do their shopping and whatnot. And also full-time police department, full-time fire department, full-time now ambulance service, which has been added to the fray that actually has offset some of those costs. So a lot of things going on in the city that you might not get in your surrounding towns, but does cost a little bit more. So that is it. That is kind of my summary for 2023. What does it cost to live in the city of Waterville? If you are in a specific situation, by the way, and you want to know maybe what it would be for you and you want to get more specific on this, all of my contact information is linked in the post below. If you're thinking about moving to the city, would love to chat with you and try to work through some of those numbers and get a little bit more specific with you. Also, maybe you're a Waterville resident, maybe you've thought about moving to Waterville. What do you think about all this? Am I right? Am I wrong? What's your experience been? Go ahead, drop a comment below. Always love to catch up with you there. And of course, as always, I thank each and every one of you for sticking around to the end of this video. And until the next one, I'll see you next time.